Most of us operate from a paradigm of highly conditional love. This isn't our fault. It's really just how we are trained to love by a broken society. We are taught that when you love someone, you do certain things for them, and in return, they do certain things for you. It's a contract created between two humans, a very human-based, ego-driven contract. But what many people in our society are very unconscious about is the fact that there are contracts between us on a soul level that we do not control. We do not dictate the circumstances of these soul contracts consciously. We can't create them, we can't destroy them, we can't alter them. They simply exist. These are soul contracts, soul connections, what we sometimes refer to as our soulmates, or the highest form of soulmate connection, the deepest form, which is a twin flame connection. These are people to whom we are drawn magnetically, not because we chose them consciously, but because we chose them unconsciously, meaning on a soul level, not just once, but over and over again in lifetime after lifetime. And we never consciously made this choice to love these people, to be drawn to these people. We simply were attracted to them energetically as a result of us and them responding to a frequency. In the case of twin flames share a core soul frequency, meaning that at the core they are the same, they are identical. And because our universe operates from or under the guidance of many different universal laws, but predominantly the law of attraction, like attracts like. So in the case of twin flames, you can only imagine the incredible magnetism between them, considering they share a soul frequency. They are identical beneath all of the layers. But that is the key here, beneath the layers. These so-called layers are all of the aspects of ourself. Some of these aspects we may even believe to be ourself, to be us. But many of these things are created from an inauthentic space. And what I mean by that is they aren't true or aligned with that core soul frequency. They aren't who we truly are, or a reflection of who we truly are. Rather, they are aspects of ourself, our life, our personality we created from a primal state, a need to survive, what we sometimes call an ego-based state, from our human aspect. Our human aspect that has evolved through the centuries to crave validation, to crave acceptance by the so-called tribe, which is now just society generally. Getting society's approval in today's world is the equivalent of fitting into a tribe in primal days. This is why our ego fights so hard to survive, because when it perceives us going through this spiritual awakening that our twin flame triggers within us, experiencing this ego death through which all of these facets and aspects of our life, our career, our personality, our relationships begin to crumble. It literally feels as though it is dying, and therefore that we are dying. And in order to, in its own mind, keep us alive, remain alive, survive, it will cling to these rules and creations and expectations. Because again, it perceives itself dying. It essentially looks at itself and sees that we are telling it to take a back seat, that we are saying these aspects of our life are not aligned with who we truly are and they need to go. And again, it attaches all of its worth, all of its value, all of its survival to these things. So the reason I'm saying all of this on the subject of course, the title of this video, Twin Flames and Deal Breakers, is because deal breakers are one more construct of the ego, collectively, the human ego. We create these relationship rules as a society. We say, love should look like this. And if it doesn't look like this, it's not love. We also say things like, if I do this for you, you must do this for me. Otherwise, I cannot and will not love you. We use love as a bargaining chip within our relationships to be withdrawn. Whenever we perceive that we aren't receiving back our end of the bargain, this is really the whole setup for conditional love on this planet. And it doesn't just happen within romantic relationships. Conditional love, we usually learn first in family relationships. Many of us may come from families where our parents, even if they were very well-meaning, had certain expectations of us, and they would only give us the validation, the love, the expression of love that we craved if we met these expectations. So for example, you may have had parents who praised you when you academically achieved, but didn't give you praise when you would create something like a painting or have some kind of a creative idea. They would essentially steer you in a certain direction unconsciously through their expressions of love to you and withdrawals of love or expressions of love from you. So we learned this kind of reward system when it came to love and relationships. We learned that if we act in certain ways, we get a hit, we get love back from the people that we care about. And if we act in other ways, perhaps ways that are more aligned with who we truly are and how we truly feel, we have love withdrawn from us. When we're children, we are inherently in a codependent relationship with our parents, and that is the way that it has to be when we're young. When we're babies, our parents literally care for us, change us, feed us. We can't survive without them. That is the very definition of codependency. And even as young children, we rely on our parents for a sense of self. And this continues into our teenage years up to adulthood. Now, because we learn this codependency, or I should say, because we have this codependency physically, materially on our parents, this often bleeds into a kind of emotional dependency that doesn't end when our material dependency ends. So we may be an adult and we know how to take care of ourselves. We may live on our own. We may have our own income, our own job. We may be able to cook for ourselves, to clothe ourselves, to feed ourselves. But we may still be carrying this childhood emotional dependency into our relationships, both family relationships and now, because we've learned this pattern, into our romantic relationships as well. So we present this version of ourselves to the people around us that we know from an ego-based, ego-driven survival, emotional survival mindset that we know will get us love, validation from these people. But what happens is when we meet a twin flame, our twin flame, unlike these people, many of these people in our lives who were attracted to us based on this false self we were projecting in order to get love, our twin flame operates, or twin flame attraction operates in the exact opposite way. So twin flames are actually attracted to one another based on their authenticity, their core soul frequency, not based on this false self, this false projection of self from the ego, coming from the ego's need to survive. So what happens is very often, and this is kind of just a side note here, but twin flames who get into the running and chasing dynamic, what's really going on here with the so-called twin flame chaser is they are perceiving this intense, emotional, energetic attraction to this other soul, to this person, like they've never felt to any other. And naturally, they want to be close to this person. We naturally want the physical to match the energetic experience, the outer world to match the inner world, because we are natural born conscious creators. So when we have this inner world going on of telepathic experiences with this person, perhaps getting flashes of past life experiences, or just having a knowing that we've spent every past life either longing for this person or feeling this connection or being with them even in past lives, when we feel this pull to them physically, emotionally, energetically, we as creators naturally want to see that manifested in the physical, in the 3D, because we know that is the way it is supposed to be, as within, so without, including in this twin flame connection. So we feel all of that attraction, but what happens is our ego gets involved and tries to overlay its misunderstanding of love onto the twin flame connection. So as we talked about earlier, the ego has learned to project a false self in order to get love from others, to act in certain ways, to do certain things, to make someone love you. But this is what we call chasing or chaser energy within the twin flame connection, because essentially we are allowing ourselves, when we are in this state of chasing, to be driven from our ego into this space of, I want to keep this person in my life, so I am going to do X, Y, Z to keep them. I am going to give them this so they stay. I'm going to text them this because I need them to text back. I'm going to proclaim my love for them because I need them to proclaim their love for me. So we are doing, saying, and acting in ways that are unconsciously calculated to get something from this person. And the thing is, in most of our relationships, these games work. Essentially, it's a mind game that the ego plays, and nearly everyone plays these kinds of conditional love games with each other, especially in the dating phase. But with twin flames, the attraction is so effortless that our ego won't even allow us to believe just how effortless it is. It doesn't let us think that this person could truly love us, see us fully, exactly as we are, authentically, and love us regardless, want to be with us, not as a result of what we are giving them, what we are saying to them, how we are acting, how we are dressing, whatever the case is, but simply as a result of that core soul frequency we are radiating when we are in our true power, meaning when we are being radically authentic. So when the ego gets involved in this way, or I should say one way the ego gets involved in this way is by constructing rules within the twin flame connection. These are sometimes known as deal breakers, commonly within society. Now, what is a deal breaker? Inherently, a deal breaker is contradictory to twin flame love, to twin flame connection, because a deal breaker is something we have pre-decided using our reasoning mind, our logic mind, our ego mind, is something, a circumstance, a situation, a divide between us and another person that would cause us to withdraw our love from this person, to immediately cut off our love from them no matter what, regardless of the context of this situation, regardless of the soul connection that exists with this person. We are saying with the word deal breaker, it doesn't matter how connected I feel to this person, how badly how greatly, how intensely I desire this connection, how much I feel pulled to this person. I will ignore all of those intuitive signs, all of those energetic feelings and sensations. I will repress them, ignore them, and I will cut this person off. Now, the problem is for twin flames, if you are dealing with a true twin flame connection, this isn't a connection you are capable of severing, of cutting off. You always have free will on this planet, meaning that you can make the decision to not contact this person. You can make the decision to not be in a romantic relationship with them. You can make the decision to date someone else. You have the power to make those decisions, but you do not have the power to completely energetically disconnect from essentially yourself, because in a true twin flame connection, this person is your mere soul, meaning they share your core soul frequency. It's like you and this person have walkie-talkies that are set to the same station, and you two are the only one on that station. I think it's called a station, whatever they call that on a walkie-talkie. It's been a long time since I've used one, but it's like you are on the same frequency and no one else on this planet is on that frequency. And you can tune in and really can't help but tune in at absolutely any time to their energy because it's your energy. You are connected. You will feel it through your physical body. You will feel their energy through your emotions, through your thoughts. That energy exchange is always going to be occurring between you because it cannot be otherwise. It would be to break a universal law. So you can choose consciously to not dwell on this connection, to date someone else, to not actively or to attempt to not actively think too frequently about what is going on, but you are always going to feel it. And whenever you are stepping back in tune with your intuition, when you are truly alone within yourself in that still place within yourself in the quiet, you will feel your twin flame there with you because they are always there with you. So when it comes to a deal breaker, the reason that a deal breaker is inherently contradictory to the twin flame connection is because we are saying that if this person says or does this, acts in a certain way, or if the circumstances of our connection are like this or that, I am no longer going to feel connected to this person. And that is the part of this that is impossible. Again, it is absolutely in your power to set physical 3D boundaries or to make 3D decisions with this person if you choose to do so. But you can't halt the energetic experience of being connected to a true twin flame because this person is a reflection of your soul. You are constantly transferring energy, and you didn't start transferring this energy when you met in the physical because the physical connection as it's playing out in the 3D between the two of you is only a reflection, a kind of culmination point of this energetic experience you've been having your entire life. So I'm saying all of this because I do feel through many of my twin flame readings I've been channeling recently, which, by the way, if you are new to my channel, be sure to subscribe because I do post twin flame readings on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. But through these readings, especially since the recent Mercury retrograde, I've been channeling a lot of information from many of us collectively as twin flames worldwide about a tower moment, a culmination point, a kind of, for some of us, a separation mentally, physically, or emotionally from our twin that many of us experienced within the last few months of this year. And again, this won't be for everyone. We are all on our own unique journey, but I know that this kind of culmination point, this tower moment, this potential separation has been resonating with many of you in the collective. And part of the reason this has been occurring, or I should say throughout this experience, many of us have been confronted with our deal breakers. So we've been confronted with certain circumstances, let's call them facts of the case, certain problems, certain interactions, things that were said or not said or done or not done within our twin flame connection that violate some idea we had in our mind or society implanted in our mind about how love is supposed to look or feel. And this can be a really confusing experience because the rhetoric you hear from society and even within a lot of the spiritual community is all about setting and holding strong boundaries with people in your life, which, while I do believe in creating boundaries to protect yourself, to make yourself feel safe and secure, I feel there's another side to this story, the idea of unconditional love that isn't fully understood. And especially within the context of the twin flame connection, this gets very confusing because inherently there are certain boundaries within twin flame connection that cannot be set. For example, energetically, as we do share the core soul frequency of this person, we energetically will always be feeling them. We can't consciously decide, I'm no longer going to feel this person's emotions. I'm no longer going to process their pain, their awakening. I'm no longer going to hear them telepathically. I'm no longer going to dream of them or sense them. We can't force a disconnect from the energetic experience of being a twin flame in the same way we can enforce 3D physical boundaries within relationships, because it's much more than a relationship. It is connection, a soul contract, an energetically based connection that is extremely strong and powerful. So very often we can be met with feelings of guilt or confusion as we try to set our usual quote unquote boundaries with this person, with our twin flame. We say, you did this, so I am no longer going to speak to you. I'm not going to communicate with you. I'm done with you. I'm going to move on. And in normal relationships, non-twin flame relationships, that would work. But with a twin flame, if you are dealing with a true twin flame, the problem is we say that, but as we push back against what we think our twin flame did or said to us, we find ourselves simultaneously pushing back against ourselves, pushing back against what our soul knows to be true, pushing back against our true authenticity and our own intuition, because that is the way in which we are connected to this soul, to this other being. So this again can become very confusing because we might say, you did this, or the circumstances are like this, so I am just going to move on. But with twin flames, the harder we push back at our twin, the harder we push at ourselves. It's like the harder we feel the push within ourselves. The more we try to disconnect, the more we are inundated with signs and symptoms, sensations, dreams, trying to push us back onto this path, because everything in our experience, all of the divine forces guiding our life, all of the synchronicities that are sent to us, all of these things are given to us to veer us back onto our divine path. And the further we try to disconnect, the more we feel that disconnect within ourselves. It's like we may find that the only way to feel as though we're even marginally disconnecting, which we're never truly disconnecting, but I guess the only way to feel as though we aren't consciously thinking about this person, wondering about them, loving them consciously, is to be very out of touch with our own intuition, with our own true authentic self, which of course feels very wrong to us, especially those of us who are highly spiritual. So rather than pushing back against these things that we call deal breakers within twin flame connection, I teach shifting focus. Because very often, and this is another thing we're mistakenly taught by society, we are trained to believe that when someone does something to us, the way we fix it is by pushing back against the problem, by hyper-fixating, taking a microscope to the problem and blowing it up, and then getting to work and trying to solve it. When it comes to twin flame connection, I really advocate for a shift in focus, because the more negative energy we channel outward to our twin, regardless of how societally justifiable the situation or the negative energy we're sending to them would be, we are only hurting ourselves. We're only causing ourselves to feel more confused, more upset, more disconnected. So I teach a shift in focus, meaning shift your focus from the problem, from the so-called deal breaker, from the perceived disconnect in the physical, from what you perceive this person to have done that was wrong, or what they didn't do that you wished they would have done, whatever the case is. Shift your focus from that back to yourself. And what I mean by that is focus on self-care, on self-love, on self-growth. Don't force yourself or attempt to force yourself to disconnect from something, from an experience, from the twin flame experience. If you do know yourself to be a twin flame, you can't and shouldn't expect yourself to be able to force a disconnect from what your soul already knows about this person and this situation, simply because society does not understand the type of soul connection you are dealing with. It doesn't understand the energetic bond you share with this person, but you do. So build that trust within yourself, that trust within the realm of things you know that you understand. And beyond that, instead of fixating on this person, whatever this problem is, whatever this situation is, this so-called deal breaker, take all of that negative fixation, transmute it into a positive fixation on yourself. Find ways to care for yourself more deeply, to love yourself more fully, to accept yourself. And the reason I say this, because I know it sounds like very counterintuitive advice, like how am I going to attract deeper connection with my twin by focusing on myself? The reason this is such a powerful and effective and yet so deceivingly simple shift in focus is because, remember, your twin flame is a reflection of you. They share your core soul frequency. They feel the shifts that you are creating within yourself. So when you are shifting your attention in a negative direction, they unconsciously feel and respond to this negative shift. Regardless of what you are saying or doing, they will feel repelled. They will feel pushed away, because that repelling is happening energetically, unconsciously. But on the other side of this equation, when you shift positively, when you shift from the negative to the positive, in this case, focusing positive energy, care, and attention upon yourself, your twin flame feels that as though you are sending love, care, and attention to them. It causes them to feel drawn to you, to feel attracted to you, not just in some kind of high-level, esoteric, energetic way, but to literally move toward you in the physical, to reach out, to communicate, to make movement forward, because all of our responses and reactions within the twin flame connection may look like words and actions in the physical, but really what they are unconscious reactions to energetic experiences. So when you begin to focus upon yourself in a positive way, to shift your energy in a positive direction, your twin will instantaneously feel and begin to respond to these shifts. But this requires a lot of courage and willpower that shouldn't be underestimated, to have the courage, the confidence, the inner stability to shift your focus from doing what society teaches us to do, which is to fixate and try to solve a problem, to simply refocusing positive attention within upon yourself. And yet, this is the single most powerful way to affect almost instantaneous and lasting changes over time within the twin flame connection. Now, I personally recommend establishing a morning meditation practice. This is the best way to begin doing this focus shifting, this energy shifting, because very often throughout the day, we can become very tangled up in negative thoughts or emotions. However, as we sleep, our conscious mind is completely dormant, meaning that all of these negative feelings, thoughts, and emotions are released. They are like weights that fall off of us. And this means that when we awaken, there is this short window of time where the conscious mind is still relatively dormant. It's still a bit inactive. And because of this, it hasn't been able to yet overlay all of these opinions, judgments, emotions, paradigms upon our unconscious mind, upon our soul, because the unconscious is connected directly to the soul, to the energy. So I recommend listening to subliminals first thing in the morning for just 15 or 20 minutes. And I say this because subliminals are designed to deeply impact and shift the subconscious parts of the brain, which again is so essential when we're talking about shifting your energy, because as I've been speaking about through this entire podcast, all of our reactions within the twin flame connection as it plays out in the physical, and our twin flames actions, words, reactions are all actually coming from this unconscious space that is reflected within each of us. This means that when we choose to deeply reprogram our own subconscious mind, to uproot those paradigms of conditional love, that matrix of conditional love, those limiting beliefs about ourself, about our twin, about this connection, and replace them with powerful, positive, magnetic ideas, our twin flame instantaneously begins to respond to those shifts we are affecting within ourselves. And they respond in the physical and very real ways to the ways they feel the energy shifting between us. So on my website, soundandsoulful.com, I've created over 100 subliminals for all areas of life. So as you can see on the screen, you're just looking at a few different categories of subliminals I have available. You can listen to any of them in multiple different sounds. You can also combine them into your very own custom playlist. So for twin flames specifically, the subliminal I would most highly recommend for you is my Twin Flame 7 Chakra Clearing Subliminal. This is so powerful and effective because it addresses energy blocks to unconditional love, unconditionally loving ourselves and our twin within this connection. And these blocks are what is keeping us apart, whether it's an emotional, physical, mental disconnect, whatever the case is. Again, we are responding to these energy blocks, to the ways in which we feel blocked within ourselves. So as we listen to subliminals to clear our energy, to clear our subconscious mind, which is reflected in the energy field, our twin will radically feel and respond to those shifts as well. So the link to this Twin Flame 7 Chakra Clearing is in the pinned comment and description box under this video. You can try it completely free for 7 days by creating a free trial account on my website. And again, all of that information is linked below. Thank you so much for joining me here today in this podcast. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you did, please do subscribe to this channel, and you can also follow me on Instagram at Magnetize Yourself, where I post exclusive Twin Flame energy updates for the Twin Flame Collective. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will talk to you again in the next podcast.